Hello and welcome to a slightly sick episode 246 of the TEW 2020 Challenge run. This is the first time I've actually had time to record since Backlash. I was going to do it last night, but I was really ill, and I'm feeling a little bit better now, so fuck it, we've just got to get it over and done with. So if I sound slightly off, that's why. Like, it's okay, but I couldn't leave this booked not being run for any longer. Anyway, it is the first show post Backlash, and it starts Raw's long build to their next pay-per-view, which is Money in the Bank in June week 3, I believe. Or was it week 2? I can't remember. One or the other. And yeah. So we're not actually going to start the build correctly because we've got like 6 or 7 weeks before we get there. So there's no rush. But we're going to take things nice and slow, but it's still an interesting show we've got. Without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Rhea Ripley opens up. She won the 60-minute Iron Woman match at Backlash against Becky. And that match didn't do very well because they have a lack of psychology, apparently. But oh well, we move. And she's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I beat Becky. I proved that it wasn't a fluke at WrestleMania. And I'm the best, I'm the goddamn women's champion for a reason. Now comes Kaylee Ray to interrupt Rhea. And she's like, well, congratulations Rhea, you did get the job done. You outsmarted Becky. In fact, Becky, I haven't even heard from her since that defeat. She sort of just walked straight out of the building. I haven't heard from her since. And that's not alright with me, Rhea. You've ruined everything around here. We were on top of the world. We were like the top of the women's division, and now I've got to sit here and struggle because of you. And I'm gonna avenge the woman who gave me everything. Without Becky, I don't know who I am. Kaylee Ray doesn't exist without Becky Lynch, and because what you've done to her, now she's not showing her face on here because you embarrassed her at Backlash. That's not gonna fly with me. And Rhea's like, well, if you want to do something about it, I'll fucking fight you right now, and I'll even put the belt on the line if you want a title match. And Kaylee Ray accepts, obviously. So we're going to open up with an impromptu Raw Women's title match. Kaylee Ray, of course, upset about Becky not being here and losing to Rhea. Rhea being like, well, fuck you, bitch, I'll just beat you. But first, Veer Mahan coming to Raw. 81, that's pretty fine. Yeah, that's actually pretty fine, yeah. Rhea beats Kaylee Ray, obviously, with the Soul Food in 10:46. Rhea retains defense number 3 of the title. 90 for Rhea, 73 for Kaylee Ray. Boom, boom. And then, after the match, Rhea is celebrating, and we sort of get a look at Kaylee Ray she's sat on the apron. She's sort of, like, looking at herself, doubting herself, because Becky's not around anymore. And she's like, what am I going to do by myself? Is this me? Hey, I've got to farm my own path. I'm sure you could probably guess where that will lead in the long term. But for now, we don't know what's going on with Kaylee Ray. We then cut to William Regal and the British boys, because obviously this is the Cody-verse of madness. It doesn't end after one match. Regal says that Cody got lucky back at Backlash, and the main event tonight is actually an 8-man tag team match. It's going to be Dudley, Pete, Dragunov and Connors of Blitzkrieg against all 3 members of the New Day and Cody. So Regal's gassing up his boys. He says that Cody is a fluke. Pete Dunne, on his best day, could beat Cody Rhodes 9 times out of 10, and Cody just so happened to get the 1. And to make no mistake about it, when Pete Dunne steps back into the ring, or even when Dudley steps into the ring with Cody, that's how you know it's going to be over, because they'll learn from their mistakes, unlike Cody, who revels in them. And then Walter and Blitzkrieg walk in, and they're like, we're tag teaming tonight. Well, he's not, but Dragunov and Connors are. So it's like, let's talk about strategy. And he's like, you know, Walter, you're a good hand, you're a good guy. And you had the chance to become the World Heavyweight Champion last night, and you failed. Through no fault of your own, through the fault of Bobby Lashley, might I add. You just need, somebody like Pete and Dudley have to take you to that next level. And I could be that guy, Walter, if you need me to be. I could take you and Connors and Dragunov, and we could dominate Raw. What's the point of having two of us? Because alone we are great, you know. Me, Pete and Dudley, you, Ilja and Joseph. But together, we'd be unstoppable. And Volta says, no thank you, and walks off. We then get Ludwig and Sami making an entrance. Sami comes out first, and then Ludwig comes out. He's still got the generic luchador mask that he got a couple of weeks ago. And he says, Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn. You stand in that ring oblivious, acting like a fool, like you don't know what it is I want from you. Sami's like, I don't, my brother. Like, what? He's like, this generic tatty lucha mask, it's worthless. I can't pride this on my collection, hide this in my vault on display. It's tacky. It's garbage, Sami, just like you. And that is why you know where the real prize is. And you're gonna help me find it, but first I'm gonna beat it out of you, Sami. And Sami's like, what are you looking for? Like, what is this? And then the bell rings. We get Ludwig and Sami in an 80. Ludwig beats Sami Zayn. He's the one we're pushing here. Sami's had his world title run. He's sort of a man floating. There's a couple of them on Raw, really, I've noticed. Him, Kyle O'Reilly, Cesaro, Drew Gulak, all these people are sort of just like existing right now. And Sami's got the feud going with Ludwig. Ludwig says that Sami's got something for his collection. And Sami's like, what the fuck you want about, bruh? But Ludwig beats him. He gets a 73 and 83 for Sami. And then Ludwig sort of looks down in disgust at Sami. And then he leaves. So either the item that Ludwig says that Sami has that he wants isn't on him tonight. Or maybe it's not even a material possession. Who knows? Cameron Grimes promo. He beat The Miz in a banger, might I add, a Backlash. And he says that that's not going to stop. The train keeps on rolling. This rocket's going to the moon. And quite frankly, I'm really tired tonight. So, no match for me tonight. But I'm going to take on anybody who wants to challenge me for my Intercontinental Championship because I'm a fighting champion. And I'm going to take the stocks of this title are going to go up just like the stocks of my coins or whatever. But just basically saying he's a fighting babyface champion and wants to take on anybody that wants a shot at him is the gist of the promo. We then go backstage because, as announced at Backlash, Alexa put obviously the new Raw general manager, in case you missed the show, which you didn't because more people watch pay-per-views and skip the TV. But if you somehow did miss the pay-per-view, Alexa is the new GM, and she's doing about her business, going into the JFlo locker room ahead of the 5-on-1 handicap. And she can hear them practicing their shit performance. She's like, hey girls, just want to check out and make sure you're all good for tonight. And Mackie's like, yeah, we're going to win. And she's like, yeah, you should, because there's 5 of you, there's 1 of her, because it would be pretty silly if 5 of you couldn't beat 1 girl, right? She's like, yeah, that would be silly. Like, so what you're saying is I can leave you to your stuff. And she's like, yes, you can, Alexa, now leave. And then they start practicing again, and Alexa sort of like looks at the amp and the noise gun. She's like, this is really loud, Mackie. You know where you got this amp? She accidentally twats the amp, falls over, crushes Mackie's foot. She screams hysterically in pain. Poo, 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 holding her foot. And Alexa's like, oh fuck, oh no. It's like, does this mean you're not going to be able to wrestle tonight? And Mackie's like, so, long story short, I didn't realise that TEW didn't let you do 5-on-1 handicaps. So, I had to find a way out of writing one of these 5 out of the match. And obviously I'm going to pick the leader to not be in it. So, Mackie got her foot crushed by an amp because of Alexa's clumsiness. But before that match anyway, we get the Hurt Business. They're still on a recruitment. They got like their business cards out and they're handing one out to Ronnie Hughes. He's sort of been focal point of Raw since he came up in the draft. It's like, you call yourself prime time Ronnie Hughes, the big bull. You know, you've done it all. You're Miami Dolphins Super Bowl champion. But you're not going to be WWE champion without someone like MVP by your side. Someone like the almighty Bobby Lashley by your side. Someone like the colossal Bronson Reed by your side. I'm not saying you're bad and that you won't get any success, but I think your profits will skyrocket as a part of the Hurt business. And Ronnie's like, I'll take it under advisement. Cheers, but yeah, I don't want to make any rash decisions. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes. I have to think things over because I've certainly got a lot of new friends since coming up to Raw. You know, people like to try and buddy up to me. It's really weird, so don't want to make any rash decisions. You know, P. And he walks off. 70 rated handicap match. That's actually good considering the ratings in it. But Nova wins. Obviously, she pins Marika Area 451, and she now earns. She's not in Money in the Bank yet, but she earns the right to fight for Money in the Bank, probably against Mackie in a qualifier, I guess, since she wasn't in this match. But Alexa's scheme has backfired because J-Flo, I guess, weren't prepared enough because they're still in distress over their partner's possibly broken foot. 70 for Nova, 60 for Tam, 59 for Mizuki, 53 for Marika, and a 64 for Mina. Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt and Susie are in there. No Jeff, obviously, because we don't do Jeff Hardy in the Funhouse. He's just Willow. And Bray's like, yowie, wowie, did they get into a fight last night? Susie? She's like, yeah, it was really, really heartbreaking to watch as those two beat their ass. And Bray's like, well, all that matters is that our toys are still here to play with. And I don't know when or where the next challengers or the next people that try and take these from us will be, but we need to make sure that they're ready. Because they can't slip up. They can't slip up. And there can't be a weak link. Susie. He won't like that. Alexa's back in her office, fresh off, checking on Mackie in the doctor's office. Sheamus walks in. It's like, that was some bullshit at Backlash, fella. You know that was some bullshit, don't you, Alexa? And she's like, good afternoon to you, Sheamus. How can I help you? It's like, you know what I want, fella. I want another match. One-on-one tonight. Give me Randy Orton. Alexa's like, well, maybe if you ask nicely, since I'm the authority around here. And Sheamus like, fine. Please, can I have a match with Randy Orton later on tonight? And Alexa's like, see, man, it's cost you nothing. Yes, you can have a match with Randy Orton, but are you sure? Because, there's a lot of those spooky guys out there with the hoods up. Are you sure? And Sheamus like, don't worry. I've got a brogue with those fellas' names on it too. And he leaves. So Sheamus and Randy, later on tonight. But first, welcome to the most must-see WWE talk show in history. Welcome to Miz TV. And Miz is talking about how he goes, well, with Backlash in the rearview mirror, all eyes on Monday Night Raw turn to Money in the Bank in June. And what a night it's going to be. One man, one woman will climb that ladder, retrieve that briefcase, and earn the right to challenge for the WWE or World Heavyweight Championship or the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship at any time they want over the next year. And I'd know all about that because you're looking at someone who used that to its advantage and won the WWE Championship with the Money in the Bank briefcase. And I plan on repeating history again this year because there's no reason why The Miz won't be in Money in the Bank this year unless Alexa Bliss, who I've had quite a good relationship with in the past, decides all of a sudden to not put me in Money in the Bank qualifiers. But she knows better than that because she's so great at her job and at business. Then Matt Riddle comes out. He's like, bro, all you do is sit in here and talk, bro. I want to win Money in the Bank too, bro, but I'm not going to sit here and rant about it, bro. I'm just going to kick whoever's ass I'm in to get into the qualification match, get in the match, and then kick their ass and pull the briefcase down, bro. And who knows, carrying a briefcase down will be nice and cool, man, because who knows what I can store inside, bro. And then the Street Profits come out. They're like, whoa, riddle. Look, you see, the Miz, he's already a former WWE champion. Dawkins like, yeah, fam. Riddle, you are a future WWE champion. Yeah, fam. It's like, you see, Money in the Bank isn't for guys like you two. It's for guys like me. Guys like Dawkins. Guys that would never normally get a look at being the world champion if they didn't get this opportunity to pull that briefcase down, seize their moment. So, if you think either of you two are going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase, well, think again, because that briefcase is coming home with a Street Profit. Then out comes Angel Garza and Dixie. And Dixie's like, well, we've been watching footage of great matches from the past. Matches that I have run, featuring people climbing stuff and pulling stuff down. And Garza, he got a bit distracted, as he does, by some pretty ladies and their children, but, you know, his focus is going to be entirely on Money in the Bank come the pay-per-view. Then they'll come hit Raw, and they've got a Money in the Bank rap about how Swerve's going to win the Money in the Bank. And they end up getting into it with the Street Profits a little bit, because that'll be a fun interaction. And setting up a tag match right now, Street Profits versus the two members of Hit Row that aren't Swerve. And basically everyone's staking their claim at being in Money in the Bank. Gets a 70. Street Profits win. I think this is the first loss that Top Dollar and Ashanti have taken since coming over Raw, but it's fine. They're not supposed to be unbeaten monsters. It's just fine. It's a good match. Profits win. 80 for Tez, 71 for Dawkins, 58 for Ashanti, and a 40 for Top Dollar. We then come back to Alexa in her office. And she's interrupted by Tyler Breeze and Wardon. And Breeze is like, I don't suppose that you're finished with your plans for Money in the Bank, are you, little Lexi? And Alexa's like, well, what kind of a general manager would I be if I'd locked things in for certain so far out? Anything can change on a whim here on this show, Breeze. You should know that. You once weaseled your way into a position of power. And Breeze's like, yeah, well, consider this me trying to weasel my way into Money in the Bank. Because... And then he looks back at Wardon and he's like, Wardon here, he's got my back, and my enemies are his enemies, and you don't want to make enemies out of me, Bliss. Because you know what happened to the last... Did you know why they were looking for a new general manager on this show? It's because Daddy's not here anymore. Okay? Then he leaves. So Breeze casually threatening Alexa with violence the first day on the job. Never change, you madman. Here's a backstage segment. R-Truth's got the 24/7 title, where he's chased by Jimmy Wang Yang, who... You know, we've had Jimmy Wang Yang, used him for like the 24/7 stuff. Well, not the 24/7 stuff, the Cruiserweight World Cup we've used him for. So, he's been around, and obviously I'm going to have him get involved in the 24/7 title stuff and win it. He was up R-Truth. And he runs away around the corridor. Bang! Who does he bump into but Omos? And Bivens sort of looks down at him and goes, Jimmy Wang Yang, what do you think you're doing? Run into the Colossus like this. Welcome back to Raw. It's nice to see you not on Velocity for once. Hey, if you want to make a name for yourself back here on Raw, why don't you fight the Colossus in a match tonight? And then a 1 minute segment where R-Truth gets the belt back, because I'm not keeping it on Jimmy Wang Yang for the match with Omos, because then that means Omos will be the 24/7 champion. I'm not prepared to do that. Here's our segment. It's Liv. She's still like, she's looking down at her phone. She sat backstage on one of the crates, just like looking at her phone. It's just because like she wants to text Ruby, because like she probably raged out on her last week, but like she also doesn't want to because she's still bad, and she's sort of like stressing. And then a hand pops on her shoulder, belonging to Santos Escobar. He's like, hey, mamacita, like, what's up? You look stressed. She's like, it's just... I try my hardest to get noticed around here, and, like, Ruby is taking advantage of me, Rhea taking advantage of me, nobody seems to care about me or knows I'm even here. And you're the first person to actually check up on me all day. And he's like, Liv, if I was friends or more than friends with somebody like you, I'd never let you out of my sight. I'd do anything I could to make you happy. He sort of winks and walks off. And Liv's like, oh my god, handsome Mexican man. Final anime con segment. Our heroes, last time we left them off, maybe we'll do a recap like at the start of an actual anime. For Backlash, we left off, they'd found Sensei's room, and there was smoke coming out of it, like a meet and greet area with smoke coming out of the bomb, and our heroes were entering. And then basically what happens is they walk through the smoky room, and they're like, whoa, Sensei? Dio asks. Sensei. It turns around and, where's the smoke coming from? But haha, RVD. And he's like, hey dude, like, I don't know where your sensei's at, dude, but it's me back here, do you want to join in? He's like, no, I want to find Sensei. They should be in here somewhere. And then Sensei's like, glad you could come. And it's Kid Bandit, obviously. And they're like, glad to see you finally found me, Dio. And you've brought some friends along the way. It's like, well, I always intended for Mary to come with me because we wanted you to teach us your ways. Sort of just picked her up on the way, and Saray sort of fiddled in with, like, Sailor Moon merch. And then Bandit's like, well, I'm glad that you've decided to finally open your mind and your soul and your heart to the power of anime and God. And with me, the young sensei, by your side, there'll be nothing that you can't do. Hell, you saw Tozawa and Humberto Carrillo take it to the Fiend and Willow at Backlash. That could be you. You could use the power. You could, for lack of a better term, level up to the next level and channel your inner power. You just need to follow your heart. And next week, you're going to be at Raw. And you're going to prove to the world where you don't mess with the power of God and anime. So Bandit seemed like, obviously, the best choice for the young sensei. And they're not going to be wrestling as often because it's sort of like a managerial role. But obviously they can still wrestle if I want them to. But it's also a fun 24/7 Division edition. And yeah, just young sensei, Kid Bandit, is here teaching the ways of the anime to my wrestling academia. And this is the group. So we've got the tag team, the woman, and sort of the manager / onlooker. I guess they're sort of like what Mei Ying was, but that's also a bad example because Mei Ying didn't really wrestle. But yeah, young sensei is here. 62, Omos beats Jimmy Wang Yang in a minute. 72 for Omos, 46 for Jimmy Wang Yang. The dream match didn't go very long. Obviously, I'm saving it for the main event of WrestleMania next year. Don't worry. Another backstage segment. This time it's Ruby Riott and not Liv. And she's also on her phone trying to ring. She's actually called Liv and she's like, come on, Liv, pick up. And it goes straight to voicemail. She's like, weird, I could have sworn I saw her car outside, like she is here. And then Ruby sort of finds the locker room and opens the locker room door and sees Liv sat there. She's like, Liv! Then opens the door a little bit more and standing... As the door opens further, you can then see who Liv's talking to, and it's the entire Balor Club. And Ruby's like, oh my god, quickly shuts the door and walks off. But we've seen enough. We've seen enough, is all I'll say. This segment, we cut from Liv chatting to Balor Club to like an ancient Chinese mountain, and Tozawa and Korea and Luchasaurus are trekking up it. And then Humberto's like, why are we coming this far? And Tozawa's like, at Backlash we came so close to beating The Fiend and Willow. I think we can have them if we were to get one more match for the tag team championships against them. But first we must visit my master to teach us the true warrior ways of the dragon. The true path of the dragon. And they enter like the dojo at the top of the mountain. And we've got Rufeng and Xia Li on screen here, just fighting. They're like background extras, just kicking shit and stuff. And then Tozawa's like, master. Turns around, it's Tajiri. Tajiri making a cameo as the Dragon Master here. And Tozawa's like, please, master, can you teach me and Humberto and Luchasaurus the ways of the true dragon? And Tajiri's like, it would be my honor, young Tozawa. And then we get a montage of them sort of like proper hardcore training. Like breaking bricks with their forehead, or trying to at least, because this is not going to be just 1 week and done, because it's going to take more than 1 week to get them in full fighting Dragon Master spirit. But the most important part of the segment, you may be able to tell based on the names on the screen, Luchasaurus has been a dinosaur this whole time. And I guess the new edict is people that get called up get renamed, but not necessarily people that were called up before that edict was put in place. But I'm still going through and doing a couple of like touch-ups, gimmick changes and name changes to people. So Tajiri goes up to Luchasaurus and he's like, you, my young son, you have proven your worth as one of the dragons. You come up here dressed like a dinosaur. I now grant you the true power of the dragon. You are now my dragon. My Zergis the Mighty. He was always intended to be a dragon the whole time. I just sort of never renamed him until now. And this seemed like a good excuse to do it. So Zergis the Mighty is our resident dragon here on Raw. And then we handle changes because they've got bad gimmicks and they still have bad gimmicks. Game, let me get fucking these two over. Jesus. Every single gimmick. I've got my creativity. I think I've used all of my user talent points on creativity. So, but for some reason Tozawa's gimmicks are always just shit. Like, let me get this team over, game. 99 rated segment. The Queen Wu. She's here. And she's like, well, don't I look good in gold, Wu? It's been almost 2 years since you saw Charlotte Flair holding championship gold in this company, and that is a crime. Like, honestly, someone should be held in court for that. Like, why was that even allowed to happen? But, like I said, Charlotte Flair winning a championship, it is inevitable. And I stand here now as your women's tag team champions. And Jordan's like, well, I mean, fuck, okay, I've got a belt, but I'm not going to piss Charlotte off because she's the reason I've got a belt. So, like, yeah, go Charlotte, you're the champions. And that's just the start of many of my championship collections, because Money in the Bank is coming up, and what way to prove my inevitability of becoming women's champion than by winning that and having the physical embodiment of an inevitable championship victory in my hands for the champion to be worried about this whole time. Then Ruby Riott comes out and she's pissed off. And she's like, you. Charlotte's like, me? It's like, you last week. You stopped me. I was going to break up that pin. And because of you, Liv no longer trusts me. Liv now thinks I hate her. And Liv's off talking to some very bad people right now. And not to her best friend. Because you have messed with her head with that defeat. I'm not going to stand for that. I want my friend back. I want to kick your ass. Charlotte's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Ruby. Chill. And then, bang, Ruby gets jumped by Reggie. Oh, I thought I put a segment in for the attack. Nope. Ruby gets jumped by Reggie and Jordan. And then a match. She's like, oh, I will give you a match, woo. And Charlotte wins it. The damaged Ruby Riott in 6:41 with a figure 8. 89 for Charlotte, 71 for Ruby. I don't have this pre-written out this week. I don't have an edgy monologue for you. So just ad-lib edgy words, you know, destruction, devastation, chaos. Pain. I feel pain. I'd rather feel pain than nothing at all. In fact, I'd rather feel pain than happiness. Because I get my happiness by inflicting pain. But it's good to know that it's not just me that agrees with my message. Because I've got this man too. And then into the darkness frame, like into the mirror, because we're still just looking at, obviously, the back of Cross's head, and you see him in the mirror. So we just see the man's reflection in the mirror pop up behind Cross. It's this man. He's like, this man was once alive. This man once lived amongst the animal kingdom. But since he heard me, and he saw the state of this world that we call our own, it hurt him to the core. He's now dead. He's dead inside, just like I am. He is no longer the animal on which he once was. He's now just its rotting carcass. And he's here to help start my crusade of genocide, which will begin next week. That actually turned out quite edgy, given I didn't have that pre-written. But yeah, Carcass, Moose, is here. He's following the words of Karrion Kross. I guess those edgy monologues really spoke to him. And Karrion Kross now has an ally in Carcass. Will this be Karrion Kross's final ally? Only time will tell, ladies and gentlemen. Who knows how many more Karrion Krossites are out there in the world? 90. From Karrion Kross to this. Talk about juxtaposition. Randy beat Sheamus. He gets his win back. Because 2 weeks ago he beat him clean to get Sheamus hot for the Edge match. But we're writing Sheamus off soon, so... yeah, Randy gets the win here. He wins with an RKO. 79 for Randy, 85 for Sheamus, 90. Distraction by Judgment Day 3. One of the masked hooligans distract Sheamus. Then after the match, the entire group, Edge, Randy, Priest, and the 3 hooded figures, attack Sheamus, concerto him, and then Edge is like, that's not enough. We get a flashback to WrestleMania. Randy on punning Drew McIntyre in the head. And Edge orders the same. And Randy punched Sheamus in the head as well. So, he'll now, I guess, be chilling with his best friend Drew for a while. Because the Judgment Day have claimed another victim. You know, Karrion Kross is out here bragging up about genocide. Who knows the sort of people that he'll beat? God can only begin to wonder. But Edge and the Judgment Day have taken out 2 top guys in quick succession here. So they might be the real threat on this show. Bianca Belair. She's like, girl, right? I'm sick of this bitch ass. Like, go fuck yourself, Alexa. And she's like, excuse me? It's like, another week and I'm not on this goddamn show. This is a fucking joke. In fact, I'm going to request that if I'm not on the show next week, I get traded to SmackDown. And Alexa's like, chill. I've been here 1 day. Like, I know you've been... your whole thing in the last couple of weeks is that you feel like you're not getting respected on Raw. I get that. But I think you're a hell of a talent. You're one of the top women of my division. So, next week, we'll have the first Women's Money in the Bank qualifying match, Bianca. And guess who's going to be in that match? You're going to be in that match. And that match is even going to main event the show, Bianca. And you're going up against Charlotte Flair. Bianca's like, girl, I'll whoop her ass and prove that I belong in the main event. You see. So Alexa has made a big time main event for next week. Charlotte and Bianca for a Money in the Bank spot. Big Mattress Inc. are back advertising on this show. I say, sleep is our priority here at Big Mattress Inc. We've got the comfiest mattresses in the land. Just look at this satisfied customer. And then we see the person that we know as Wendy Chu, who the Raw audience in this world do not know. just chilling, napping on one of the mattresses in the shop. She's like, boy, doesn't she look comfy. Order your big mattress now. So that's the first official confirmation that, like, Big Mattress Inc. exists in the world of WWE Raw. We thought they were just adverts this whole time, but no siree. All entrances, but mainly Cody. He takes up most of the time. I bet the rest of the guys more than one royal family. His entrance gets more time than the world champions, who is on his team, you see, because he's Cody goddamn Rhodes. And the match gets an 87, that's a good main event. Ilja Dragunov and Joseph Connors along for the ride. And Cody pins Connors with the crossroads, because of course he does. Land of the free, home of the brave. And down goes Joseph Connors, the scumbag Englishman. 82 for Cody, 87 for Woods, 74 for Kofi, 88 for E, 75 for Connors, 86 for Dragunov, 80 for Dudders, and 87 for Pete. Is Kofi Kingston declining? Because why did he do worse than Joseph Connors? He's not. I guess Joseph Connors is just really good. Noted, okay. Which is good because these are an AI-generated tag team. I've got a goal to make an AI-generated tag team a tag team champion, so it could be them, you never know. Anyway, the show gets an 92. That's pretty good. I say that's pretty good, that's fantastic, actually. Don't know what I'm on about, pretty good. But yeah, I'll see you on the other side for Heat. A rather heavy wrestling episode of Heat this week, because there's only really one angle I want to run on the show, because we've not really got many. We're on like the building up phase of the angles. Like, I'm not starting many big angles on Heat this week. So just 4 matches and then one segment I want to go over. But the 2 Dominion girls, Asuka and Julia, beats Marlon Shine. Asuka submits Kylie with an Asuka lock. 72 for Julia, 93 for Asuka, 74 for Tegan, 70 for Kylie. Strong opener. 81. And obviously with Money in the Bank qualifiers setting up soon, you gotta think maybe Asuka is going to be one of the favourites to qualify for that match. 54. They don't have any good chemistry apparently, but so Ray actually beats Ember Moon in quite a shocking match. Kind of an upset here. Saray beats Ember with a drop kick. 36 for Saray, 62 for Ember Moon. They don't click, and yeah, just to give Saray the rub to get her over because she's younger. And Ember Moon's contract is coming up kind of shortly, and I'm thinking I might just let her go because I feel like I've done everything I can with her. So I'm trying to really like freshen up and like, I don't want to say youthen because Ember Moon's only like 33, but like fill it with new faces and sort of like phase some of the older people out. And Ember Moon's contract coming up, I'm sort of like, yeah, this is sort of one of the people I could probably do with sort of phasing out and replacing with newer people. So she's going to quickly put a couple of people over on her way out. And Team of Mia Yim was fun, but Mia Yim is another one that I might end up phasing out soon. So, yeah. 61. Naomi beats the newly renamed Cam Snyder, because I did go back through and rename everybody in NXT. So, once they all get called up, they'll already have their stupid names. So that's Kira Hogan, obviously, Cam Snyder. 65 for Naomi, 43 for Cam. This is the one segment on the show. It's like an exclusive. We probably advertise it on Raw, like, there's an exclusive thing that's going to happen on Heat that you're not going to want to miss. And it's this. A dishevelled Kaylee Ray defeated. Following her match with Rhea Ripley, Kevin Patrick comes up and he's like, Kaylee Ray, Becky lost at Backlash. Becky's not here anymore and you've lost tonight. What's the future hold for you? And Kaylee Ray says, you know, Kevin, I told you out there, I told Rhea, I told the world out there. I owe basically my whole career here in WWE to Becky. If there's no Becky Lynch, then there's no Kaylee Ray. And I don't know what the future holds for me, Kevin, but I can tell you this. That match with Rhea on Raw, you did just witness Kaylee Ray's last match. And she walks out the door. Main event. I'm hoping this counts. Let's play my figurehead on the show because this runs alongside Raw. But Io's here, and they beat Tatum Paxley and Tiffany Stratton because I want to give them to a rub because I like both of them. Io beats Tatum with moonsault. 93 for Io, 76 for Kyrie, 25 for Tiffany, 21 for Tatum. And that's the end of Heat. Gets us a 75. That's a fine rating for Heat. And I'll see you next time. Hopefully it won't be another 10 days. I can't promise anything, but hopefully I'm going to be... I said this about 3 times since WrestleMania, but hopefully this time I will be back on the regular. Please, don't shout at me if I'm not. But hopefully I'll see you for SmackDown sometime soon. See you then.